we made a decision almost 20 years ago that because writing was the thing we did best, we were going to focus on that. And we've been able to build and sustain a business around that. But I think just because you do something well doesn't necessarily mean it's generating impact for clients.
And we're constantly needing to refresh how we do things.
And you always have to look at why do you believe, or what do you believe about what it is you do that actually generates the impact, generates the return on investment.
And money.
Things we've done that have worked the best have been the things that can persuade people who are in a position to act on behalf of our clients to do that.
Okay.
Because you can talk to the whole world about your client. Most of the whole world is never going to do anything to help them because they're just not close enough to them to do it.
Yeah.
But just about every company, and ours is like this too, you have a certain core community of people that are closest to you. It's your own employees, it's your customers, it's your former customers, your prospective customers, their friends and family, your vendors. The people who, if they're engaged and they're thinking about you and they're up to speed on what's going on with you, they can really drive business, referrals, recommendations. They can be strong ambassadors for you. Before we reach out to the whole world, we have to make sure those people are constantly engaged with what's going on with the company.
Which is really difficult to do because the pressures of every day, I mean, just the amount of stress. Let's just think about families for a minute. You have so much responsibility, and that's not even talking about our own self and the own mental health. And we see how things are switching and changing, and a lot's going into technology, and keeping people informed so your business can thrive is so important to do.
It really is. And as you've often said to me, you get something like several thousand messages pointed at you every day. And which ones do you decide to pay attention to? And I think there's a couple of answers to that. First of all, you pay attention to the ones that are relevant to you. So if there's company X out there that I've never heard of, and then there's company Y that my friend works at, I'm much more likely to pay attention to company Y. And then second, the information has to be relevant and it has to be presented well. I will say this, as someone who's a word person and has been a word person my whole life, I get a little tired of hearing people say, people don't like to read. You know why people don't like to read? Because most of the writing out there isn't that good. And it isn't that relevant and it isn't presented that well. And I believe people will read something that's good and that's relevant.
And that keeps them engaged.
Exactly.
And engagement is really what we're talking about here.
So now you've got your close group and you're keeping them engaged. And that's the number one priority. And I always think that should be the number one priority in the things we do. Next, you want to make sure you're empowering the people you've got on the ground. And I'm thinking specifically about salespeople now. Because companies have got to support their salespeople with really good content that keeps the prospects engaged. So here's my sales piece. First of all, does the sales piece really make the case for the company? Maybe they do. Maybe we need to strengthen that.
Or maybe you just got a smooth talker of a salesperson. But still, they should know certain company things.
Sure. And then as one of our clients often reminds us, sometimes you need to connect effectively 6 or 7 times before somebody thinks about buying. So once you've made the initial pitch and you've given them the initial, what are you going to do then? Are you just going to keep reaching out every month and say, I'm just following up? Or are you going to keep some fresh content going so that the prospect keeps seeing new reasons or new angles for why they should be engaged? So that kind of content that supports the salespeople, that's the second tier. And then the third tier, I think, is the group that's paying attention to you on probably LinkedIn and other social media, or because they don't know you as well, but at least they're engaged enough that they were willing to connect with you or they were willing to follow your page. So there's a whole group there that's larger, but you've got more work to do. So if you bring like a sample of that group in to become more interested, now you've accomplished something more too. So layer 1 is the people closest to you. Layer 2 is the sales, really the prospects that the salespeople are working on. And then 3 is that larger group that's out there, they've engaged in some limited way, and you've got to work a little bit to bring them in. Beyond that, I mean, I'm happy to do press releases, industry publication, thought pieces, white papers. I'm glad to do all that.
Yeah.
But those 3 fundamental levels,
Very important.
gotta nail that first.
Well, thank you so much, Dan, for sharing that with me. I get to hear it every day, but that really is some great insight.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's really important to say here is when you've done something 25 years and you've gained all the experience of 25 years, you should be willing to say, okay, we should be able to apply what we've learned over the course of 25 years and then do things better.
Yes.
And I'm not afraid to say that.
Do things better, but keep it authentic.
Yeah.
Because that's really, really important. We're dying for connections, and there are resources like us available to you, to anyone who needs it. But communicating is so important. And that's why we do what we do here at North Star Marketing Content. So again, Dan Calabrese, our CEO. My name is Michelle Cole. I'm the managing editor here. And we will talk to you guys soon. Stay talking.